Welcome to Echoes of Love. Tonight, we're diving into a tale of passion, betrayal, and the thirst for revenge that will leave you questioning everything. But be warned, once you step into this world, there's no turning back. If you're hooked, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new story of love and vengeance. And if you have your own, share it in the comments. We might just turn your real-life tale into a video, with your name featured. Let's dive in. After a video of Aaron Collins rolling up the hem of a mysterious woman's trousers went viral, I spent the night standing in the mountains, drenched in the rain. No one knew that I was his hidden wife, married to him for 3 years, yet never once allowed into the light. I finally decided I'd had enough. I booked a termination appointment, signed the divorce papers, and left the capital. But that was when Aaron Collins panicked. He dragged me back, forcing our marriage into the public. In the 3rd year of our secret marriage, I was finally no longer his invisible wife. But it was too late. I had long since stopped wanting him. The first I heard of Aaron's trending scandal was from the housekeeper. At the time, I was standing in a downpour, scrolling through the news alerts. Aaron Collins suspected to be secretly married. Aaron Collins' girlfriend revealed. Cold aloof movie star tied the knot young. Pinned at the top of Weibo were a few bold glaring words followed by a bright red hot tag. An hour earlier, he told me he was coming to pick me up. Half an hour ago, he'd sent me a witch at red packet telling me to take a taxi home instead. And yet there he was in another city, crouching down to roll up another woman's trousers. In this remote backwater, taxis were a joke. He'd forgotten that a week earlier I'd gone back to my grandmother's village because of his work schedule. When the bus I was on had an accident, I called him. It rang for a long time before he picked up. We barely exchanged sentences when I heard the WCA notification tone on his end. He hung up right after, leaving only, "I'll call you back later." I waited 2 hours. The call never came. Turns out he'd been busy picking up his first love. The night wind in the mountains was already tinged with the chill of early autumn. Nearby, a young man tilted his umbrella to shield the girl beside him, protecting her as if she were made of glass. Not long after, their ride arrived. The girl smiled warmly at me. "Why don't you come with us, sis?" I returned her kindness with a grateful smile. "Then I'll trouble you." My phone kept buzzing with push notifications, as relentless as the rain outside. But inside, I felt nothing but calm. 3 years of self-deception. It was time to wake up. The video was grimy, but I still recognized the woman. Ella Davis, Aaron Collins' first love, the one he could never have. 3 years ago, they'd broken up. In a fight, Ella, in a fit of anger, left the country. Aaron, in turn, married me, a woman with 7 parts of her face resembling hers. I'd known before we wed that he didn't love me. He married me out of spite for Ella, but that was fine. I didn't love him either. That part, Aaron never knew. He only knew I'd agreed for the money. 1 million. Marry me and I'll cover your grandmother's medical bills in full. At the time, my mind was foggy. I didn't believe life could play out like a soap opera, yet staring at a face so similar to the man I once loved, I said yes. Once I overheard Darren's friend asking him, "What if Ella comes back?" "You married Hannah Moore out of spite." "What then?" Aaron, cigarette between his fingers, replied coolly, "Then I'll deal with it when it happens." Everyone thought that if Ella returned, Aaron would toss me aside without hesitation. Even I thought so. That somewhere along the way, Dutch started to like me. He would hold me in the dark, whispering my name again and again, kiss my cheek in the first light of dawn. The Collins family, the untouchable movie star, would make breakfast and wait for me to wake. On cold winter mornings, he would tuck my feet into the warmth of his flannel pajamas. When I pouted, he would pull me onto his lap and kiss the curve of my ear. But none of that stopped him from flirting with Ella Davis. Short bursts of tenderness are the easiest to drown, and so easy that I almost forgot our marriage had been one of mutual use and calculated compromises from the start. He treated me well. The only flaw was that in 3 years, he never once acknowledged me publicly, nor admitted he was married. At important events, he would even slip off his wedding ring. I never forced the issue. I played the role of the considerate, understanding wife. In the video, the man crouched down to roll up the woman's trousers, then pulled out a handkerchief to gently dry her rain-spattered ankle. I instinctively rubbed the foot I had twisted earlier. Not too bad, still bearable. I remembered a post I read the other day. Just how much damage can a first love do? So, this is what it meant. The young couple asked me where I was headed. I told them, wherever you're going, I'll go too. They exchanged glances, then gave in, dropping me at a small hotel in a southern city. Anywhere was fine as long as it was far from Aaron Collins and Ella Davis. After half a night of rain, I took a quick shower and fell asleep the moment my head hit the pillow. When I woke the next morning, my phone was full of Aaron's missed calls. I didn't return a single one. Instead, I sent him a WeChat message. Aaron Collins, let's get a divorce. Then, I switched my phone off. My head still felt heavy, a faint fever, lingering. Without thinking, my hand drifted to my abdomen where a tiny life was quietly taking shape. I confirmed the pregnancy during my days in the countryside. During that time, I was always drowsy and weak. My grandmother, with her sharp intuition, immediately noticed something was off. A hospital check confirmed it. The moment I held the report in my hands, a wave of inexplicable grievance washed over me, yet mingled with it was an unbiased sense of happiness and anticipation. After all, there isn't a mother in this world who doesn't love her child. But the day Aaron Collins' scandal hit the hot search, all my anticipation for this baby's arrival vanished. I knew my foolish self-deception had reached its limit. In front of Ella Davis, children, wives, none of that mattered. I refused to let an unborn life tether me to Aaron Collins any longer. While the IV drip for my fever ran, I drifted into a hazy sleep. Through the fog, I heard Aaron's name. A group of young nurses were gossiping excitedly. Oh my God, Aaron Collins and his girlfriend are so sweet. I know, right? Childhood sweethearts reunited after years apart. I'm obsessed. Seriously? I heard. She's a famous pianist who studied abroad. Help, this is peak couple goals. They're perfect together. I smiled bitterly to myself. Perfect indeed. They were so caught up in their chatter that I had to call out several times before they noticed me. The lead nurse hurried over, apologizing. Sorry, sis. We didn't hear you just now. I smiled faintly, covering the foresight on the back of my hand. It's fine. I'm a fan of Aaron Collins too, but I heard he's single. Where did you get your news? The young woman led up, eager to show me the source of their gossip. It turned out Ella Davis had a Shag and Shoe account where she documented her 8-year love story with Aaron. From school uniforms to wedding gowns, why they broke up and the serendipity that brought them back together. Conveniently omitted were her going abroad for her dreams and the fact that Aaron was married. The latest post from just past 1 the night before was a repost of the viral video Aaron crouching down to roll up her trouser hems captioned, "Without you, I truly don't know what I do." Pinned at the top was a comment with over 10,000 likes. Aaron had replied with nothing but a head pat emoji, and that I thought was why fans were convinced their romance was real. Such a fitting pair of childhood sweethearts. Scrolling down, I saw that the video wasn't their only public interaction. The two of them had been openly coy with each other for a while. It was no wonder their shippers were so loud. Only I, the fool, had been kept in the dark. Only I had occasionally stupidly imagined that Aaron might feel something for me. Marin would never have guessed that someone like me, someone who never browsed social media, would one day stumble upon their little corner of the internet. But the internet is relentless. With the faintest thread, medicines can unravel the whole story. Swallowing the bitterness, I went upstairs to the gynecology department. The abortion was scheduled for the following week. I rented a small farmhouse where the chrysanthemums in the yard were in full bloom. The mountain air was fresh and clean. In just a few days, I'd almost convinced myself I was living a peaceful, quiet life. After packing my things, I took a bus into the city to the post office. If there was one good thing about 3 years of marriage, it was that Aaron had given me more than enough money. So much that with my lack of material desires, I might never spend it all in this lifetime. In the past few days, Aaron hadn't stopped trying to reach me. Almost every day, I'd receive a message. "Hannah Moore, call me back. Come home once you've calmed down. I can pretend nothing happened. I don't have time for your drama. You're too old to be running away from home. Aren't you being childish?" From the tone, it was clear he hadn't taken my words about divorce seriously. Frankly, it was annoying. I didn't want to engage, but since the divorce papers weren't signed yet, I couldn't block him. And I wasn't Navi. Aaron Collins was the kind of man who could find me in minutes if he wanted to. With his resources, he could turn this little city upside down without breaking a sweat. There was just a matter of whether he felt like it. What he assumed was that my leaving was nothing more than a tantrum. And admittedly, a part of me was curious just when would he show up. After a few quiet days, it wasn't Aaron who found me first, but Ella Davis. The text from an unknown number came that afternoon. "Hello, Hannah Moore. This is Ella Davis. I'm sorry you and Aaron are having problems because of me. Aaron said you still haven't replied to him. Could you at least let us know where you are? Maybe you've seen some of the things online, but I want to explain we really don't have anything going on. Perhaps there were feelings in the past, but that's all behind us now. You're his wife. When you're done clearing your head, come home. Aaron's worried about you." Message after message popped up. I suddenly found a funny concern wrapped in a veil of provocation. Pity Aaron couldn't see through it. If Aaron wanted to find me, there were countless ways. If nothing else, he could have gone to the police. But instead, he chose to feed details of our home life straight to Ella Davis, knowing full well how much I loved that. And yet, he did it again and again. This was nothing. What kind of man, when his wife goes missing, bypasses the police and her friends to confide in his ex? And besides, over these past years, what else had he told her? I didn't see the point in replying, but Ella Davis was relentless. She called next. When I answered, she laughed. "Marin always said you were obedient. Seems like that's not exactly true," she said. I didn't reply, quietly waiting for her to continue. "Knowing you ran away from home shows you still have some fire left. I appreciate that you're willing to give me space." Even though I was firm in my decision to divorce, hearing such a blatant provocation made my chest tighten. I smiled bitterly. "Miss Ella, how do you know I'm willing to step aside so easily?" Her voice faltered for a moment, probably not expecting me to push back. "Hannah Moore, after 3 years, you still haven't won his heart. You're not the type to silently endure. And honestly, I think you and I are the same. Neither of us can tolerate a speck of dust in our eyes when it comes to love." I laughed suddenly. "Oh, really? Then why is Miss Ella still willing to be the other woman? You? But you're partly right, partly wrong. When it comes to love, I really can't stand even a speck of dust. So, I hope Miss Ella will hurry up and convince Aaron Collins to divorce me so he can marry you properly." I paused, then added, "After all, being the other woman isn't exactly honorable." With that, I hung up. Then I blocked all unknown calls. Aaron Collins received the divorce papers a week later. In those days, he worked around the clock, rushing through schedules just to find time to look for me. He was confident in Hannah Moore. He knew exactly what kind of woman his wife was. 3 years of marriage, always calm and gentle, never quarrelsome or loud, kind-hearted and harmless without a hint of scheming. No matter what he did, it seemed she'd never get angry. When he first heard that Hannah Moore had run away, he was honestly a bit surprised. Finally, his wife had learned to throw a tantrum. That was actually a good thing. Otherwise, she was like a cup of warm water, so dull. The housekeeper told him when Hannah's package arrived, and he became even more sure of his thoughts. He assumed she had realized her mistake, had heard Antrim, cooled off, and was looking for a way to back down. He had already decided once she softened, he'd drop everything and take her home. But the moment he saw the divorce agreement, he finally felt that Hannah Moore was truly angry this time. He hadn't done anything wrong, at least not that he knew of. Usually calm and composed, he was now uneasy, his hands trembling slightly. As he clutched the papers, he had a bad feeling something was about to happen. Ella Davis was different from Hannah, more lively, cheerful, seemingly full of endless energy and curiosity. He'd always thought he preferred that type, but now, listening to Ella chatter incessantly, he found himself inexplicably irritated. He sighed helplessly, calling out. Ella froze at the expression on his face, then cautiously asked, "Are you angry?" Her voice cracked with emotion and tears welled in her eyes. "Sorry, I just wanted to talk to distract you. I didn't mean to upset you." Seeing her cry, Aaron softened instantly. He carefully pulled her into his arms. "I didn't mean that," Ella sobbed, hitting him gently. "It's all my fault. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't be like this with Hannah Moore. You should go to her. I'll move out." Listening to her broken sobs, Aaron's frustration grew. He was afraid, if he stayed 1 second longer, he'd lose control and explode. He left hastily after telling her to get some rest. Ella was right. he really should go see Hannah more. The divorce papers he sent brought no response. I was tired of dragging things out, so reluctantly I called Aaron Collins. He picked up in almost an instant. For someone so busy, an immediate answer was rare. The moment the call connected, Aaron inexplicably wanted to snap. Hannah Moore, how old are you? Still running away from home? Did you think I wouldn't look for you and you had to make a scene? Do you know how many jobs I've turned down because of you? The penalty fees alone are tens of millions. He vented at length and I listened quietly as his anger ebbed. Then I said simply, I'm sorry, but Aaron Collins, you don't need to give up anything for me. Take all the work you want. Through the phone, his voice was weary. Hannah Moore, it's time to come home. I tried to keep calm. Aaron Collins, I'm not coming back today. I just want to ask, have you thought about the divorce papers? His tone was sharp. What do you mean? Literally what I said. We're getting a divorce. I heard him take a heavy breath, clearly struggling to hold back his emotions. But inside me, not a single wave stirred. Hannah Moore, marriage is a two-person thing. You can't decide alone. Wait until we talk face to face. Aaron Collins came quickly. I wasn't surprised. Turning this small town upside down to find one person. Easy. When the black luxury car pulled up outside, I felt no shock. The lofty Aaron Collins, the untouchable movie star at the top of the entertainment world, leaned against the corridor, looking utterly unkempt in a wrinkled thin windbreaker. A few days' worth of stubble dusted his jawline, and the cigarette and his fingers flickered on and off. His disheveled appearance did nothing to hide the expensive air around him. It hadn't been long since we last saw each other, yet I felt a little dazed looking at him. We just stared at each other, neither willing to speak first. Aaron Collins's face was calm, his eyes deep and cold as gaze seemed to try to bore a hole right to me. I said, you should be wearing a mask. Aaron Collins stubbed out his cigarette and stood up. Hannah Moore, it's time to go home. His usual, calm and composed tone carried that unmistakable air of superiority. He just looked at me lacily, but that gaze made the long suppressed tick inside me resurface. He was certain I wouldn't leave. Tears slipped down my cheeks before I could stop them. How embarrassing, Hannah Moore. What's that to cry about? What are you crying for? Marin gently wiped away my tears with his fingertip, his touch surprisingly careful. I dodged his reaching arm as he tried to pull me into a hug and said firmly, Aaron Collins, we're getting a divorce. I'm not going back. Why? You don't love me, so why bother? Let's get divorced. Then you can marry Ella Davis. Isn't that better? Aaron didn't answer, but asked back, are you only saying that because you saw the news trending? The morning wind was chilly, and I instinctively tightened the floral quilt around me. He always thought I brought up divorce because of the scandalous news that it was just the last straw breaking the camel's back. I reached out and tugged at his sleeve. That jacket Ella Davis bought it for you, didn't she? It's all wrinkled and you're still wearing it. Aaron's expression stiffened for a moment, his brows still heavy with impatience. I left in a hurry. You've known about her all along, haven't you? Everything was fine before. What changed this time? Because I don't want to live in her shadow anymore. He stared at me like that, his indifferent eyes showing no emotion. Lightly, he said, let's go home first. Your grandmother is still waiting for you. I stared at him in disbelief, my chest feeling like it was stuffed with waterlogged cotton, heavy and suffocating. Aaron Collins, you really know how to hold all the cards. Still, I followed him home. When we stepped inside, my grandmother came out like a child, beaming. Oh, my dear. I hugged her tightly, my joy bubbling up. Aaron's gaze suddenly froze, his brow furrowing as he glanced behind me. Neela Davis stood in the kitchen doorway, wearing the checked apron I often used, smiling as if she owned the place. Hannah Moore, welcome home, she said, adopting the posture of the hostess. Aaron asked, WH, are you still here? Listening to their back and forth, I felt nothing but numbness inside. Still, meaning she'd been here all along. I quietly took my grandmother's hand and headed toward the bedroom. Grandma didn't forget to explain to Aaron. Ella said, she's your friend. Grandma, let's go inside. I've missed you so much. I don't know what Aaron said to Ella, but when she came out again, her eyes were red. Even like that, she didn't stop acting irritating. She kept piling food onto plates for me, for Grandma, then for Aaron. It was as if she were the hostess and we were the guests. I smiled at her, Miss Ella, you really fit everywhere. Good at the piano and the kitchen. It's a shame Aaron can't eat your cooking. Ella looked awkwardly at Aaron, and I answered for him. He's allergic to seafood. Aaron finally couldn't hold back. Ella, if you don't eat now, you'll miss your ride home. Clearly telling her to leave. Ella bit her lip, tears falling into her bowl. That night, while chatting with Grandma, she held me close and said, "Sweetheart, you didn't have to come back just for me." A random sentence, but I understood. Grandma knew. I didn't cry when I was left alone in the rain. I didn't cry during the fur drip. I didn't cry when I booked the abortion. But hearing that sentence, tears welled up instantly. Don't cry, my dear. Grandma's not stupid. I hoped your marriage would give you a support to lean on. But if you're unhappy, there's no need to keep it going. Just, sweetheart, what are you going to do about the baby? Choking on my tears, I answered, Grandma, I don't want the baby. Grandma stroked my head gently, just like when I was little. That's good. From now on, just the two of us, Grandma and granddaughter, will live well. Grandma, let's leave together. Okay. Grandma doesn't mind, as long as you're happy. Leaning into her embrace, I cried silently. Just as I was thinking about when to leave, Aaron Collins discovered I was pregnant. The usually composed and aloof man's eyes lit up with rare joy. You always want to handle everything on your own. Why didn't you tell me about this sooner? He held my hand, each touch gentle and tender. It was as if raising his voice would scare me. I don't plan to keep this child. Marin showed no change in expression. He brushed my hair behind my ear, his palm lingering on my cheek. Don't say that again. I don't want to hear it. Later, unpack your suitcase. Stop thinking about leaving. He already knew I was planning to go. If you still mind my relationship with Ella, I'll be careful. If you don't want me to see her, I'll keep my distance. You don't want her around, I'll make her leave the city. In the future, I'll keep my distance from her. We'll be a family of 3, happy. Okay, Hannah, I'll make it up to you properly. I cried out of frustration at those bastards and bit his wrist hard, sobbing as I cursed him. Aaron Collins, are you sick? Why didn't you do this earlier? Maybe it was because I was pregnant, but Aaron did become noticeably more patient with me. He made time to have meals with me, took detours just to buy my favorite cake, shared amazing stories from work, and watched mindless soap operas with me and Grand. He no longer removed his ring in public. He promised that for my birthday, he'd prepare a big surprise. And for a moment, I almost believed he had truly changed, that he really wanted to have a life with me. Grandma told me, the child is innocent. I knew. No mother wants to kill her own child. If Ella Davis hadn't reached out to me again, maybe I really would have wavered. Do you know why Aaron chose to enter the entertainment industry? She asked over the phone. Because I broke up with him over a senior from the drama department, and he wanted to get back at me. He used his influence to get that guy kicked out of the industry. Her laugh sounded bitter. But Hannah Moore, why did you show up? Everything was going well. He clearly loves me. I laughed coldly. Really? If you're so sure he loves you, why hasn't he divorced me? Why is he so afraid I'll leave? Hannah, don't pretend. You're not the type to trap a man with a child. But what if I don't listen to you and decide to keep this baby? Ella scoffed on the other end. If you really do that, then you're boring. I never did. Oh, and by the way, my WeChat name is Chang and Pan. The name hit me like a thunderclap. Chang's hometown. He had used that name since I met him. It never changed, meaning they'd been using matching couple nicknames all along. And when Ella said she never did that, she meant she must have been pregnant with Aaron's child too. All my doubts suddenly had an explanation. So that was how it was. I stood by the window, feeling cold to my bones, as if I see air seep through every crack. Honestly, until now, I hadn't blamed Ella much in this mess. I always thought the real problem lay with a fickle man. But I forgot they were the same kind of people, equally disgusting, building their happiness on others' pain, trampling on others' dignity for their own pleasure. Truly the perfect pair of childhood sweethearts. Nani didn't feel especially hurt. Just sorry for Aaron Collins. For all these years, he's been torn, still attached to her, yet unable to let me go. He has to guard against me leaving while also figuring out how to handle Ella Davis. He must be so exhausted. I said nothing more and hung up. An autumn breeze swept to the yard, stripping nearly all the ginkgo leaves from the trees. Winter was coming, and so was the awakening from this dream. On my birthday party, the press showed up in droves, huge cameras, one after another, the flashes too bright to keep my eyes open. Just as the excitement peaked, Erin Collins took my hand and announced, "This is my wife, Hannah Moore. Sorry for taking up public resources and for hiding this from everyone for so long. From now on, we'll be open and happy." The cheers swelled. Microphones thrust before me. The crowd pressed in so tightly I could barely breathe. Naren held me protectively, dodging the reporters crowding us. When he looked at me, his eyes gleamed with a proud smile. It was as if he was saying, "See, I've made you public now. From this day on, you're my legitimate wife." But all I felt was noise and chaos. I just wanted this commotion to end. Then, the turmoil erupted. I heard a scream, Ella Davis's voice. Suddenly, the man who had just guarded me carefully shoved through the crowd and strode away. His sudden movement caused me to stumble, and before I could steady myself, someone stepped on the hem of my gown. I fell hard to the ground. The world around me darkened. People stepped on me, so much pain. "Stop. Please stop moving forward. Don't step on me. It hurts so much." "Grandma. Where's Grandma? I want to go home." Before losing consciousness completely, I thought I heard Darren Collins's voice again. Strangely, he sounded like he was crying. What a shock. How could such a ruthless man shed tears for me? It felt like a dream. In the dream, there was Grandma, my parents, whose faces I could no longer remember, Erin Collins, and the one who always made me cry in the dark. When I was 18, I was finally admitted to my dream university, and I met the boy I loved. He held an expensive cake and said, "Hannah, happy birthday. I wish you a lifetime of health and happiness." I was so furious that I yelled at him, telling him if he bought such an expensive cake again, I would ignore him forever. He said it didn't matter as long as I was happy. Once he started earning more, he promised to buy me cakes every single day. He even said that in the next life, he would meet me earlier, marry me sooner, and hide me away so no one else could covet me. I dreamt of that heavy rain, the boy I loved who stayed there forever just to buy me that cake. The scenes in my dream shifted. Red and blue police lights flickered alternately, eerily reminiscent of that night years ago. Countless memories flashed through my mind like broken fragments of a movie. Hannah, Hannah. The sharp scent of disinfectant filled my nostrils. As I took in the surroundings, it looked like a hospital room. Erin Collins said quietly by the bedside, his eyes red and voice trembling. "So it wasn't him after all. Hannah, you just called my name." I ignored him and turned to my grandmother. "Grandma, where's the baby?" She held my hand gently, stroking my brows off without saying a word. "Hannah, we'll have children in the future," she said quietly. I smiled weakly. "Erin Collins, so this was the surprise you had planned for me?" "Well, it really is a surprise," he replied, kneeling by the bed, all pride gone, his eyes filled with a heartbreaking sadness. "I'm sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen." That rainy night, he had promised to come pick her up. But just before leaving, he got a message from Ella Davis. She was stuck in the downpour without an umbrella, unable to get a ride. Terrified, he reassured himself it was fine. After all, his wife was gentle and understanding, quick to forgive when upset. Besides, she was at Grandma's, and Ella Davis was all alone. Night after night, he wondered if he had stayed that night, protected her properly, would things have been different? If he had arrived on time in that storm, would the ending have changed? If the baby had survived, would she have left so decisively? At last he recognized how much of a jerk he had been, wavering between Elidis and me, and in doing so lost me completely. The news of my pregnancy, my fainting, Erin and Collins's affair, and Ella Davis's role as the other woman flooded every major social media platform. I heard their careers suffered greatly because of it. The entertainment industry is a cruel place. The higher you climb, the harder you fall. But what does any of this have to do with me? Isn't all of this the damage he caused with his own hands? Grandma always praised me for being generous and forgiving, but the truth is I'm petty. Anyone who hurts me will pay one by one. On the day I left, Erin Collins came to see me off. He cautiously called out, "Grandma." The usually proud and composed man looked unusually humble, his composure unraveling bit by bit. Grandma's frail hand held mine tightly. "My little darling isn't happy living with you. I'm taking her home." As we parted, He seemed to summon every ounce of courage to look at me one last time. He wanted to smile, but tears fell uncontrollably. He clutched the divorce papers in his hand, crumpling them tightly. I never glanced at him once and walked away, leaving behind the hopeful look in his eyes. Aaron Collins, there's a secret I have to tell you. That chaos that night, it was my doing. The miscarriage was planned by me. Even Ella Davis's injury was orchestrated. I wanted you to be consumed by guilt and self-blame, to repent day and night for me and the child we lost, living the rest of your life in regret. I wanted you to believe you had killed your own child with your own hands, so you would never find peace. And as for me, I'm going to stay by the side of the one who never let me suffer in silence.